Welcome to reviewing this. So a few hours ago I got this package in the mail, and inside we should find the Cupti by Kangertech. Now, I've never used the Cupti previously. I've seen a bunch of videos about it, and I've never even seen one in person, so I'll be quite interested to see how it works. Alright, so there we go. There's a Cupti. Now, I do know that I ordered this one in champagne color. It looks like it's in black. It doesn't say what color it is on the outside though, so maybe this is the default packaging that comes with it. But I did order the champagne color, which is somewhat of a gold tone to it. Alright, so I'm going to take the shrink wrap right off. So basically, Kangertech, they've released the Cupti as a successor to the new box. The new box was a great vape, but there were a lot of complaints online due to the amount of leakage that would come with it. So this tank, the Cupti, is supposed to fix on that. And we'll see if it does. Right off the bat, you'll always notice, oh actually here, there we go. So you can tell right there it says champagne gold. That's the color. So yeah, they did select the right color for me. And let's get the box opened up. There we go, just like that. Okay. So here's the Cupti. As you can tell, pretty small. It's only holds 5 mLs, by the way, which is half of what the new box holds. And it works on a single 18650 battery. Let me just get it out of the shrink wrap. Okay. So here's how it is. Here's the glass over here, through which you can see how much liquid you have left. You never want to fill over the max level, as indicated over here. This is a top fill tank. You know, as those of you know, the new box is a bottom fill tank, which leads to a mess and simply being a bit more difficult in terms of refilling. The Cupti is a top fill tank. Let's just continue going through the packaging. So over here it states what this kit contains. So the Cupti, and then you have 2 coils, you have a spare drip tip, a USB cable, and 1 manual. So I guess we have to pick this up. So what we have here is information regarding the battery, simply telling you the right way to use a battery, not the right way. And then here we have the manual. I'm not really going to be going through it right now. And then this is your authenticity code using guide to make sure that you received authentic Cupti. Finally, we have our USB cord and our 2 coils. One is meant for those that go from mouth to lung, and those who go direct to lung. Actually, my mistake. This is just the tip on top. This is one of the coils. The other coil is actually inbuilt inside. Just lost my train of thought on that one. So when it comes to refilling the Cupti, you're supposed to just unscrew the top section over here. There you go. The coil is basically screwed on to the end. So this is the second coil over here. Here's the first. Here's the second. So the coil screws on to the bottom, it's put inside. Obviously when this is taken off, you can then pour the liquid inside. Just make sure you do not surpass the indicator over here. We'll close this up. A huge improvement that the Cupti has over the new box are the added airflows. The new box had very poor airflow, while the Cupti improved on that, added airflow right there, which is easily adjustable by just simply screwing it as such. Now this container right here is actually made of real glass. It's not plastic, which means if you do drop it enough times, it's going to crack. Fortunately enough, if you can tell, there are 2 screws at the top here. That means that this glass is replaceable if it does crack. Keep that in mind. On the bottom is where the battery would be inserted. Right there. It just snaps open. You simply put it right there. This is your charging port, right? Micro USB charges over here. It charges on the bottom, so that's not really that great because you can't have it standing, obviously, if it's charging from the bottom. So, though, if you have your own rechargeable battery station that you take the battery out, you put it there, you have a couple of them, it's not that much of an issue. You simply, open the latch up, throw in a fresh battery, you're good to go. But if you charge through the USB, it's not going to be sitting up, it's going to have to be up on the side, and so on. And lastly, we have our LED screen sitting right there. So this is how the Cupti looks in my hand. Currently what I'm using is the RX 200 with the Smoke Tech. You can see the difference between the two. There's definitely a big difference in terms of weight. If I put them side by side as such, you can see how much of a difference there is in terms of length. And then width-wise, there's also a dramatic difference. Granted, this is more so shaped as a triangle, so that makes it look really wide on the sides. So I've had a few days to try the Cupti, and I'm ready to share my opinion on the product. Before I begin, I do want to mention that I will have a written review of the Cupti on my website, which I will link in my description as well as on the screen for the next few seconds. So my overall opinions on the Cupti. I love it. Let's first begin with the positives. So the number one thing that's always mattered for me when it came to the devices that I used to vape is, do they leak or not? I absolutely despise it when I'm vaping, I'm walking somewhere, and I continuously feel liquid residue on my hands. It becomes sticky, it becomes uncomfortable. You meet someone, you shake their hand, your hand's sticky. I personally hate it. I actually had a review on the Altos tank, which leaked like crazy. If I tilted the tank just a little bit, it would begin to leak. And ever since that product, I've really been looking for something that does not leak whatsoever. And when it comes to the Cupti, this device does not leak. I've had it in my pocket over the last few days. I've ran of it in my pocket. I've even purposely placed it upside down in my pocket as I walked a few blocks, and not a single drop has come out of it. So when Kangertech says that this tank is leak proof, they really do mean it, and that's a humongous plus for me. Second of all, refilling it. Very simple process. It's not messy whatsoever. Again, many tanks, you take several parts off, or it's a bottom fill, you get a lot of that liquid on you. It's a pain, because that means if you're outside your home, if you're commuting, if you're traveling, you can't simply refill your tank and go on with your life. If you do so, you're going to have all that liquid all over your hands. With this tank, all we have to do here, which is actually a part of this process is actually a con, but we'll get that in a second. But in this case, all we do is just turn the top section right here. And the best thing about it is that the hole through which you refill the liquid in, right there, it's very big. You can't miss it. You simply can't. With some tanks, even with that nozzle, it's hard to get it in there perfectly. This one's very simple. It's never messy. And that's the beauty about it. Third of all, good flavor. I can't complain. I used to drip. I used to have a Kennedy on my RX. I'll bring my RX right here. This is my RX 200. I used to have a drip tip, the one by Kennedy. I absolutely loved it. It produced the best flavor any device ever has for me, or any tank. Now, even though the Cupti does not match the flavor that I got from the Kennedy, it's expected. Kennedy's a drip tip, It's meant for that great flavor. This Cupti provided pretty good flavor. I can't complain whatsoever. I mean, I've been using it now for 3-4 days. No complaints in terms of the flavor. It's hitting all the right notes. The fourth thing, the design. Earlier in the on the unboxing part, I was comparing the size of my RX compared to the Cupti. It's a humongous difference. I would even go as far as saying that it's easily 2 times heavier than my Cupti. Granted, you get I have to put 3 batteries in here compared to 1 battery. But either way, size difference is great. I wear suits a lot when I go to work. Placing the RX in my suit pants, it's very difficult. It's bulky. It shows. The Cupti, on the other hand, it's... Let me just see if I could bring... There we go. This is my phone, right? This is an iPhone 7, 4.7. If I put the Cupti behind it, you can just simply see the size of it, right? It's about this much. So, you know, if it wasn't for the tip, it would basically be like half the size of an iPhone 7. It's very small, it's very petite, and it feels great in the pocket because of its shape, right? It's pretty narrow, as you can see. Again, compared to, say, an RX, much bigger mod, considerably wider. So I love that. I love the design. So overall, those are the positives that I would have to say. It's better looking than many of the devices I use. It feels better in my hands. I mean, I could easily hold it. It's not stressful. LCD screen is very easy to use. There's no issues there. Overall, great when it comes to the pros. Let's look about a few cons. So a con actually does come during the refilling process. Now, notice that when I unscrew the top here, getting ready to refill, this whole part right here, the coil on the end, it's drenched in liquid, right? So what does that mean? Well, you have to set it down somewhere, right? If you set it down anywhere, it's obviously going to drip on top of that, which means you do need to have some place to place it on, which sucks. You know, if you're, let's say on the train, you will not be able to refill your tank if you're on the train. Maybe if you have a napkin or something in your pocket, and you can somehow wrap it around this, but even then, it's not a great idea because, pieces of the napkin get stuck to the whole thing. It'll go down to your liquids. That's not a great thing altogether. So that's kind of the small issue here. Again, the whole thing that's drenched, and you do have to place it. When you're at home, there's no issue whatsoever. I have a very small plate. I simply take it off, put it on top of that, refill, put it back, and going back to the Pro, there is actually no mess. Like the top section right now is not sticky whatsoever. So when I do that, it's perfect. I haven't had the opportunity to have to refill the tank outside my home or someone else's home, which is good credit, at least to the tank that comes with it. Again, it is a small device. It holds 5 mLs in it, so it's not huge. You will be refilling it a couple times a day, depending how hardcore of a vapor you are. So that's basically for the refilling process. Another con, which I mentioned earlier in the unboxing part, is the USB charge port at the bottom, right there. But it simply means you can't set it. You can't set it like that on the table. You have to set it for it to be laying down. Which also means if you're basically, say, if you're charging the device at the same time and you're also vaping it, instead of being able to put the device down on the table, as it's charging and also take a few pulls, you have to keep setting it down on its side, picking it up. It takes more effort out. The other con that I've seen is the power button, right? The on button that you press when you want to inhale. It actually rattles just a little bit. You can hear it when you shake the device. When I run my finger over it, I can feel it move around a bit. I'm not sure why that's the case, why they made it so sensitive altogether. You'll hear it shake at times. When you're picking the device up, when you're bringing it up to your mouth, you will hear that rattle. I'm guessing at some point you may get used to it. It's not a loud rattle by any means, but you will notice that sound. That's basically all the cons that I've seen. Another pro that I forgot to mention is the airflow. It's got great airflow, no issues. The best thing about it, which I've actually had issues with my smoke tech over here. When I would use a smoke tech and I would inhale, I would get a lot of vapor still coming out of the air holes. Even when I would let go of the button, before I stop inhaling, I would still get vapor coming out of my air holes. Inevitably, that leads to all that vapor landing on my RX, which my hand is literally on, and then it gets on my hands. With the Cupti, that doesn't happen. I could even let go of the power button after I pull, and it's still, the vapor is not coming through the air holes, which is fantastic again, because it's not going to be coating the Cupti with all that vapor residue whatsoever. Overall, for $55, I think the Cupti is really worth it. I honestly believe it is the best compact device on the market today. Keep in mind, it does go from 7 watts to 75 watts. So for those of you out there that are using 100, 150, it's not the device for you. My RX, on the other hand, goes up to 200. The thing is, I only use between 40 to 50 watts. That's what I've been using on my RX. So the Cupti serves me perfectly. I've kept it at 40 so far. I may bring it up to 50, 60 soon, see how that is, but it should work up. It should work up fine till 75. I do want to mention once again, please make sure that you do not overfill above the indicator where it tells you named max. The reason being is when this whole piece is out, right, all that metal, it may seem that you have so much more that you could pour in. The thing is, when you pour it up to this indicator over here, once you place down the whole metal, it's going to displace all that liquid and it will actually push it all the way to the top. It will actually be completely full. It will be completely full as long as you listen to that indicator dimension over here, which says max. That's a big thing to keep in mind. One small thing to point out here is you can basically see the battery in the back over here where the Kangertech logo is. They do give you stickers that you can place on the battery itself, and the stickers typically match the color of your mod. So the color of my device is champagne color, so they will give you a sticker that you can place right over the battery. It's a champagne color, and in doing so it will basically blend in with the rest, because right now you do see some brown coming through the back right there. Overall, the Cupti gets my full recommendation. It's a great product for $55. It's very easy to travel with. It holds enough e-liquid that you could vape for a few hours, even if you are chronic vapor. With the single battery in there, it easily lasts, I would have to say, around like 10 to 12 hours of the day. And the flavor is great. Airflow is fantastic. There's really very little to complain about. As I've said before, I will leave a link to the full written review of the Cupti in the description, and if you are personally interested in purchasing the Cupti, I will also leave a link to Direct Vapor in the description, which is where I got this Cupti from. Other than that, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.